Hello, everyone. Tonight's subject matter we were going to talk about was kind of related to what we did last week. Last week, we were talking about some of the paranormal programs that we thought were good. And so this week, I wanted to mention some of the paranormal researchers over the course of history that have been really phenomenal. In just a second here, let me get my Word document up where I can see the thing. And that's it there. Okay. So anyway, some of the paranormal researchers, Jarrell, do you have any on the top of your head that you think are noteworthy?
I do. I like Steve from Taps, and
Okay, well, those are, I wanted to start with pioneers in the field,
yeah,
like those that are no longer with us.
right.
Those that are experiencing the paranormal on the other side for themselves.
You
One
know,
was Harry Price, who lived from January the 17th, 1881 to March the 29th, 1948. He was a British parapsychologist and a magician, and Price was known for his rigorous investigations and debunking of fraudulent mediums. It's funny, now that I'm looking at the name Harry Price, I'm wondering if the actor that was so famous back many years ago in a lot of the shows that were horror shows, Vincent Price, I wonder if he was taking a Harry Price's name for a stage name. A couple of names that we mentioned last week in our discussion was Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed was born September the 7th, 1926, and he lived until August the 23rd, 2006. So he was about 80 years old. Lorraine, she was born January the 31st, 1927, and she died on April the 18th, 2019. So she was 90-something years old. She almost lived 100 years. This husband and wife team became a household names throughout their involvement in high-profile cases like the Amityville Horror. Ed was a self-proclaimed demonologist, while Lorraine claimed to be clairvoyant. And both of them took on a lot of high-profile cases. They're very well known, and they helped a lot of people across the country. And of course, today the Warren Foundation still exists. It's a group that they started for helping people that are having paranormal events. Dr. Hans Holder was born January the 26th, 1920. He passed away April the 26th, 2029. So he was just he was 80-something years old too. He was a renowned paranormal investigator, author, and lecturer. Holzer was considered a pioneer in the field of parapsychology, and his extensive case files provided the inspiration for the show, The Holzer Files. And of course, many of us grew up on those files and watched them, and our interest in the paranormal grew from that. Some of the more modern investigators that have come along since took up after Hans Holzer. One of those is Katrina Weidman, known for her work on the TV show Ghost Hunters, and she was also been involved in numerous paranormal investigations and programs. She was in the Jack Osborne series, and she was in Paranormal State, Paranormal Lockdown, and recently the Travel the Dead. Another such person is Nick Groff. He was a Ghost Hunters alumni. Groff was recognized for his energetic and enthusiastic approach to paranormal research. Grant Wilson, a founding member of the TAPS paranormal team. Wilson has been investigating the paranormal for decades. Jason Hawes is a well-known figure in the paranormal investigation field. He's the co-founder of the Atlantic Paranormal Society, or TAPS. It was the star of the popular TV show Ghost Hunters. Hawes is known for his hands-on approach to investigating and his belief in the paranormal. Steve Gonsalves is another prominent figure in the world of paranormal investigation. He's best known for his role on the Ghost Hunters program alongside Jason Hawes. He brings a unique perspective to the team and a background as a former police officer. He's known for his analytical approach and skepticism, which often balances the more enthusiastic approach of some of his colleagues. It seems like Taps pretty much ruled the scene there for a while. Amy Bruni, a former TAPS investigator who has since branched out on her own in paranormal investigations. Dave Tango, known for his technical expertise. Tango had been an integral part of the TAPS team for many years. Another famous team was Pennsylvania State Paranormal or Paranormal State was a series. And that founder was Ryan Buell. Zach Bagans, of course, is the lead investigator for Ghost Adventures. Jared Jackie, that's one of your friends, Jarrell, that you're so proud of from Supernatural, and Jensen Eccles started as Dean Winchester. Now, I've got them down as investigators because actually the role that they had in their Supernatural series was to actually investigate. So a lot of the investigative techniques that they have deployed are things that we've used. I have also put on my list here two other people that, while they were investigators in their series, they weren't researchers per se, and yet they were. But I don't think we can go through this list without at least having them on. David Duchovny, who we all know and love as Fox Mulder, and of course Gillian Anderson, who was Agent Dana Scully. We also have Jack Osborne, who had Portals to Hell and A Night of Terror for his series. And then I also listed Steve Desvaki from the Dead Files. He technically wasn't a researcher, but he was a former police officer and he did research for the Dead Files. So I included him as a researcher on the list that I was talking about. And then for the most, these are still people that are modern investigators. I've got Christopher Moon and family, and that includes Mama Moon. And Chris, of course, who has been a lifelong friend with me. I've known him for almost 20 years. So other notable figures are Maurice Grossi, a parapsychologist and member of the Society of Physical Research. Grossi was known for his work on haunted houses. Rosemary Ellen Gilly, author and researcher of paranormal phenomena. Gilly compiled extensive data on various paranormal subjects. I'm going to have to do some more research on her because I'm going to look into some of the subjects that she did research on and see if we need to investigate them ourselves. It might be a list that we want to further and advance. I've listed two that I kind of like that we should have mentioned last week. They had a series on called Ghost Mine, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Ghost Mine. Kristen Lumen, and actually she right now is on the new series with Grant Wilson that's airing on television, or at least she was. So I have her on list, and her brother Patrick Doyle. They were on Ghost Mine, of course. And I thought that was a very interesting series, and it looked like they were going to branch out when the series ended into some other areas, but apparently it didn't come through. I've listed on here somebody that wasn't a investigator or researcher per se, but he stimulated the thoughts and the feelings about the paranormal, and his name is Rod Sterling. And everybody knows the Twilight Zone, and you hear the music and you go, doo, 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 doo. So I had added him to our list. A lot of the old-time researchers and paranormal investigators if you are talking about some, they would not fail to mention Carl Sagan. He was a renowned astronomer and science communicator who emphasized scientific skepticism. And you see a lot of people doing Carl Sagan quotes. I have James Randi, a renowned and magical magician and skeptic, famous for debunking paranormal claims. And of course, Chip Coffey, who did Paranormal Kids. And I feel like he should be listed as a paranormal researcher in his work with the psychic kids and helping to develop the kids as psychics and giving them an outlet and educating them and helping them in areas where they needed help. So that concludes my list. I don't even know how many are on it. Jarrell, you got any that you think you need to be added?
Sorry about that, John. I had muted for a while.
Okay.
We forgot about, and we did talk about it in one podcast, is Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I can't believe you left out
Dan Aykroyd.
our most favorite people. I mean, you left out Mr. Aykroyd, you left out Mr. Murray, and and all the other guys. I mean, come on, man, Ghostbusters.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Ghostbusters, forgive me. How could I not include you in being a paranormal researcher?
Yeah,
and I know that Dan Aykroyd is very vocal about it.
Yeah. I follow different things on YouTube, and whenever Ghostbusters comes out, they put a trailer out on different places. And when I saw that there was going to be a third Ghostbusters Afterlife, or, this one that just came out, yeah. Frozen Empire, man, I literally leaped for joy in my wheelchair. I didn't know I could do that, and still probably can't really physically do that. But symbolically and mentally,
I was leap for joy.
No, you really don't want to see this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't. No, it's call 911 before I even attempt it. So tell them man down. Ghostbusters. I was literally 14 years old or 16 when I saw Ghostbusters. And I remember that feeling I got because even though, there was another movie, the Star Wars, that had a lot of good special effects, and stuff like that. And Ghostbusters, I hadn't seen anything like that. Here they come out, we're ready to believe you, and I'm thinking, wow, this show is really, going to be awesome. I knew it just from the opening credit with the library scene, and I'm always humming the theme song, every day. You hear me go, I got that Ghostbuster theme in my head. Here I am, 56 years old, and I'd still love Ghostbusters. Even the two that came out, Afterlife and Frozen Empire. I hope that whoever's producing it, I hope it's Mr. Aykroyd. And Mr. Aykroyd, if you're listening, if you tune in to our podcast, brother, your movies are awesome. Don't listen to the naysayers. Please, 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 brother, if you got it in you, man, produce a fifth one. I'm telling you, man, that movie really shaped me for my teenage years. And I really, really loved Ghostbusters and love it still today, even with all the other movies that come out. The last two. And I even liked the one that came out in 2016, the Ghostbusters with the ladies, and I thought that was good. And but it's good to see the original cast back. And and I loved the man that played Egon, Harold, I believe it was Harold Ramis that played him. And he was missed in Ghostbusters, but they did do a really well homage to him. And I literally almost broke a tear because the moment they announced years ago that he had passed, I'm like, how can they do the Ghostbusters without him? Because he is the tech guy, for Ghostbusters. He's the one that comes out with the gadgets and stuff. But the cast pulled it off very well. And Frozen Empire was just really a kind of a darker Ghostbusters than previous. The Ghostbusters 2 was kind of dark, guy come through a painting. I mean, that was kind of weird, but but I
It
loved
was
it.
kind of scary, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it was scary, man. I'm sitting there. What I was 1989 when that one came out. What am I? 19, 18, 20, 21. Yeah, and I loved it. I was like, yeah, especially when Ghostbusters always win. They always pull it off. And I'm cheering, man. I'm like sitting in the theater, and people are thinking, I have a spastic CD, cerebral palsy, which I have cerebral palsy. And yes, I do have spasms and leg cramps, and a wheelchair. It's a struggle, but hey, I own it. It doesn't own me. Neither does my disability. I own it. It doesn't own me. It doesn't dictate to me what I do today or tomorrow. That's a whole other story. But I love Ghostbusters. And I really hope that the cast of Ghostbusters can continue a few more. There's a lot of dark stuff that they could experiment with in Ghostbusters, and I really think that it's going to take off even more. I just love it. Okay, I'm biased. I love Ghostbusters. So yeah, and I love my TV show Supernatural, and I love X-Files. I'm catching up on my collection of X-Files. So yeah, and when you watch Supernatural, and you and I have been watching it every night so far. We're starting with season 1, building up to 15 as usual. And yeah, you do feel like you have that personal connection with those guys. I mean, I tell everybody, hey, I watch Supernatural so much, I feel like I'm a friend of these people, So yeah, I mean, because they're in my home. I mean, when I watch the show, they're not physically in my home. That'd be kind of awkward. Hi guys. Yeah, call before you come. But yeah, do I need to call the cops? I'm just curious. But anyway, so you feel like you have that connection with the characters, because I love Jensen Ackles. I love Jared Padalecki, and I like the episode where they dressed up as clergy, and I thought that was kind of cool because I'm a chaplain and a pastor, and I've had some struggles with people telling me, how can you be a pastor and still be a chaplain of a ghost group, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, when the moment you become a pastor, you deal with the paranormal, like it or not, it's with the package. So, rather than run from it or hide from it, I face it head on. So yeah, I love those shows and the shows that I mentioned. And David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, yeah, they were top of the line for the 90s, man. I mean, and then they brought X-Files back for little mini parts. And I enjoyed those. And the movies. Don't forget the X-File movies. Oh, and don't forget the Conjuring movies. Well, you did mention Mr. and Mrs. Lorraine. So you did, you mentioned that, or, Mr. and Mrs. Warren. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So you did mention them, and that was an honorable mention, and that was their movies are good, like The Conjuring and other stuff like that. So, and I'm gonna step off my soapbox.
Don't fall. Don't fall.
Oh, well, I'm already in a wheelchair, John. What's the worst that could happen? I'll walk away from the accident. Hey, that'd be awesome. Did we lose Danny?
She came on and she said she's not feeling well tonight, so she was going to pass on tonight's podcast.
Wow, well, I'm enjoying being in the podcast.
But she at least came on and let us know she wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
I can't think of any others right off the top of my head because I spent a couple of days going through the series and making it some of these people and checking what they were doing these days and things. We did slip up in one other aspect today, chaplain. We didn't start with a prayer. But since we just found out Danny is in, I'd like to end our podcast a little early tonight with a prayer. Please pray and send some healing power that Danny's directed. And to Donna too, who's struggling with her issues.
All right, Heavenly Father, we come to you with a humble heart, Lord God. We ask that you reach out and touch those that are not feeling well tonight, God, and touch Danny, touch Melissa, God, and touch Donna, God, and just
free to make comments. Please subscribe to our channel and give us some likes. We're looking forward to getting monetized